Voila, for those who can't make it and can catch it on my YouTube channel, which now has its own little name, youtube.com. I think it's like / your whole voice or something like that, which is very exciting. So thank you so much for being here. Let me just admit into the room the lovely Joy. Fabulous. We will begin shortly. So thank you for being here. And those of you who have been before, you know how this goes. I'll chat for a bit. I might ask you some questions. I might get you thinking. And then you have 15 minutes free Q&A time to ask me whatever you need to ask me about wherever you are, whether that is vocal confidence, voice vibration, sound and chakra energy healing, or life coaching. Hell, you can ask me about acting if you like, but I've been out of that for a while. So let us have a little contemplate around the theme, which is creation. So the theme of the month, and as I think most of you know, the theme of the month always comes from my membership, from the Global Sound Circle membership, where we always work around a theme to give us focus and direction. And when I was thinking about creation for this webinar and Q&A, saying, okay, what do people want to create? What do we want to create with our voices? And very often, some of the most common things I get asked are, how do I create more gravitas? And so for those who may not know, gravitas is that energy of someone who owns the room, who holds the room, who is solid. It's you know, the word space is in gravity, right? So someone who is, boom, they're landed and they have presence. So that's sort of the meaning of gravitas. I also get asked a lot about impact, which is sort of similar. Gravity, if you have gravitas, you probably have quite good impact, and interaction. So that is, again, a very common thing. Like, how do I create more interaction? Would any of you like more interaction when you're speaking to people? More responses? Give me a little wave if so, or a nod. Yeah, I take a British nod. It's all right. We don't need an American woohoo. So you see how I just created interaction there. It's not that hard. We just need to ask for it, but we'll come to that because it is point 2. And then the third thing a lot of people ask for is, how do I create more vocal variety? And by vocal variety, very often people mean they don't want to sound monotone, but I have a couple of other things that I like to slip in there too. So before we go delving straight into this, as always, I like to ask at the beginning, do you have any specific questions around any of those 3 elements? Does anyone have, just give me a wave if you do, and I can unmute you. If you have any specific questions around any of those 3 elements. Nope. Okay, cool. In that case, let us begin. Gravitas. Gravitas is one of those things that is so common for people to ask me, how do I have more gravitas? How do I own the room more? How do I get people to listen to me when I speak? How do I know that I'm not going to be spoken over? And when I was thinking about this, I came up with 3 key elements here. The first is so important. It is when you're speaking about your topic, or whether that topic is yourself or your job or your business or whatever it may be, the number 1 trick, tip, tool, call it what we will, to create more gravitas, as we welcome the lovely Kezabel. You've just joined us at tip number 1, Kezabel, so that's perfect timing. The number 1 tip to create more gravitas is to not be questioning yourself. Now, those of you who've done work with me before, heard me speak before, you know I bang on about mindset, mindset, mindset. The brain is the biggest problem when it comes to communicating with confidence. So if you want more gravitas, do not be questioning yourself. Do not be questioning whether the people there want to hear you or not. Do not be questioning whether you are good enough to be speaking. Do not be questioning in your mind whether you actually really know enough. If you're speaking, you need to not be questioning these things. So for example, if I was questioning myself right now, or if I were questioning, oh, do these people really want to hear this? There would be a different tone in my voice. Because inevitably when we're questioning, you get what is known technically in the acting world as the upward inflection. Most people know this as the Californian or Australian accent, where even if you're making a statement, it sounds like a question. So very often when you've got that questioning going on in your head, the upward inflection just comes because your subconscious is going, I'm not really sure about this. So that's the number one tool for gravitas. The second, element about having more gravitas, and bear with me while I take time to have a sip. I shouldn't have had nuts just before speaking. But actually, this is perfect timing, because the second element of allowing yourself or creating more gravitas is to allow yourself to take your time, is to speak slower, is to just then, for example, when I got a bit of nut in the back of my throat and I needed, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to take a bit of water. I told you what I was doing. I didn't go, oh God, and try to hide it. And then I get rushed. And so people who have gravitas, people who hold the room, aren't afraid to slow themselves down. You don't want to always speak at a slow, because then people will just get bored the hell out of that room. So, but you can allow yourself to take up time. You can allow yourself, like I just did, to hold that pause. And this also links in with point 3 with vocal variety later. The third element of having more gravitas and allowing yourself to create more gravitas is to be more in your whole voice. Now, that is my business name for several reasons. But one of those reasons is because most people don't speak from a space that embodies their whole voice. Most people speak from somewhere within their heads, rather than embodying your whole voice. Like I am, my lower ribs, so all the way down here. As I'm speaking, I can feel vibration right down here. So my voice is embodied in my whole body. The other way of saying this is that you want to be speaking for more gravitas with a deeper tone. But I want to caveat that with, I don't want you don't be forcing your voice deep, because if you're forcing your voice deep, then you've got fakeness, right? So, oh yes, I have to speak with a deep voice, right? So that's why I avoid saying that. It's about being in your whole voice. And when we're coming from this space here, the voice naturally drops to a slightly lower resonance. But you want to be in your whole voice because, again, you can hear I have a variety of tone. It's just generally the tone is rich and warm. Again, this gives a sense of assurance. When someone has gravity, and they're solid, they feel grounded. So that is my top 3 tips for creating gravitas. Are there any questions on that? Is there anything any of you would like to know a little bit more of? Or is there anything that's come up that you've gone, oh, that's interesting, I've heard something different? Nope. Okay, cool. Yes, Kezabel, you will have to unmute yourself.
When you say speak from your whole body, is that by being present in your whole body, or just taking that deep breath, or not limiting your mouth, or how are you? I understood what you said, but then when I thought about it, I thought, how would you put that into practice as such?
Fabulous. So point 3 is going to help us with that, with the vocal variety. But the other way, but also point 1 of the Gravitas, not questioning yourself. So you're feeling like in your head, you are feeling safe to be there. You're like, I deserve to be here. I deserve to be sharing this stuff. And when we're confident, there's less tension. And when there's less tension, our throat doesn't get all tight and stop us from speaking and reinforce our voice up here into our head. So when we're calmer and more relaxed, so that it links to that. And there is another tip that I share in the 2-day vocal confidence workshop, which 3 of you here have done. John and Alan and Joy have all done the 2-day vocal confidence workshop. And so this will be a good reminder for the 3 of you. In fact, shall I pop quiz you? See if you can remember. Is that fair? Shall I do that? What are the zones when we're talking about tone and zones? Can you remember what I ask you to think about when you want to speak from the chest? Anyone remember? We want to be thinking about. Oh, okay, I won't torture you. We want to be thinking about I'm sharing this. I'm sharing. I'm not telling. So when we think that, so when we're telling something and we're giving facts and information, that tends to be a bit more heady. When we share, it comes from our heart. So we have more space available. And if you think of the difference between a violin and a cello, there's more space and the tone of a cello is richer. Now, if you really want full-on gravitas, boom, going into the boots, that's much more in the pelvis, in the grounded root energy. And that is an energy of I impact. So again, it's what you're thinking, how you want to deliver. It's like, you need to know this. Like, I'm compelling you. I'm trying to convert you. You know, it's like, you need to know that if you really want something to land, it's got to come from that space of deep impact, belief, solid, boom. And when we're thinking that, it opens up our body. And I'm also going to give you an exercise that you can do physically and technically when we get to the vocal variety section. So thank you, Kezabel. Fantastic question. Has that answered it for you?
Yes. And I know even doing a few warm-ups yourself, just your mouth being looser makes a difference as well, doesn't it? Basically, and I know that is head, but
yeah,
that
more space creates warmer, deeper tone. So even if that more space is in your mouth, it will create a richer, deeper tone. And again, we just use the musical instrument. You know, are you playing a piccolo or are you playing a bass recorder? More space. So beautiful.
And that vibration as well, isn't it? Vibration.
All comes back to the vibration. Because when you're speaking from that space, to have that gravitas, to have that impact, to create that. So we move on now to the second point, more impact and interaction. By coming from a space of more gravitas, you are automatically going to create more impact. Because you are creating a sense of steadiness for the people you're speaking to. So how can you create more impact? Point 1, work on your gravitas, work on that, work on the thought of what is the message you want to land here? What impact do you want to have? Is the impact, and we say this is why vocal variety is last, because if the impact you want to have is you want to make them laugh, like one of my best friends is a stand-up comic, there's a different energy to if you want to make them cry. So knowing what impact you want to have is really important. So if you want to create more impact, go in with a very clear idea of the impact you want to have. The very clear idea of the impact I want to have through these sessions is expanding your awareness, your knowledge, and helping you feel more comfortable and confident in yourself. And the other part of the impact I want to have from these free webinars is that you feel more confident and comfortable in me. That's a part of the impact that I want to have, is that you go away and go, oh my God, Judith's good. And at some point, maybe in the future, some of you have worked with me already, some of you haven't. You know, at some point, maybe in the future, you'll come and work with me, or you'll tell someone, oh my God, I do these free webinars with Judith Quinn. They're amazing. You should come along because she'll answer your questions. And she doesn't even do hard sells. She mentions stuff once in a while, but that's the impact I want to have. I want these to be good. I want them to be full of value. And those of you who keep coming back, I'm assuming you're getting value. So when you have clarity on the impact you want to have, that again, clarity of thought creates clarity of words, and clarity of intention creates clarity of tone. So there'll be points when my intention for the impact is a little bit of levity, right? I just made you all laugh. That was deliberate. Right? So, and you'll have noticed that I didn't try and change my tone, but because my intention of the impact that I wanted to have was, okay, let's lighten this up a bit now, my tone and pace automatically changed. So if you want to create more impact, be clear, have real clarity on the impact that you want to have. Interaction. One of the simplest ways to create interaction is to ask questions. I've been doing that all the way through this. So for Gravitas, you are not questioning yourself, but to create interaction, you want to ask specific questions. Okay. So that's the simplest way to create interaction. Any questions on impact and interaction before we move to some interactive exercises, which is the other way to create interaction, is get people doing exercises, even simple ones. Okay, let us move on to vocal variety. How can you create more vocal variety? The most common form of vocal variety that people are afraid of is they're wanting variety of tone. They're afraid that they'll sound, they don't want to be monotonous. And there is another kind of variety that is, I believe, actually almost more, but definitely as important as not being monotone. And that is variety of pace. You don't want to be monopace. Now, Kezabel knows this. She's a performance artist with her poetry. So you've got to take people on a journey. If I was delivering this, it doesn't matter, and I'm going to try, it's one of my hardest exercises, but it doesn't matter how much vocal variety I have in my tone. If my pace is all at one pace, then right, you're bored already. So you need both. So allowing yourself to, again, we come back to the Gravitas thing of allowing yourself to take time. If you are delivering a speech that you've written, you can build that in. In actors, if I go to any of my scripts that I've got along here, of plays that I've done, you know, there will be in the script, one line is a quick pause, two oblique lines is a longer pause, a squiggle is hold the energy. Right? Every actor has their own different shorthand for how they're varying the pace. In someone like Shakespeare, and with all writers really, but particularly something like Shakespeare, he'll put things in that mean you have to speed up or you have to slow down. So there's a classic in Macbeth where it's, you know, did you hear that? What, when, where, just now, at the door. Like the lines are short, 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 short. So the two actors know that it has to be done like this, because it just doesn't work otherwise. So allowing yourself that shifting of time. There are bits where, okay, great, we want to get the energy up. And if you want to get the energy up, then you're going to have to speak a little bit quicker. And this is naturally your tone. You'll have noticed my tone naturally, because we're like, okay, right, so let's move on to the next thing. Where are we going to go? We're going to go here. Now, a really important thing about this element of vocal variety is that most of the time it is subconscious. What I'm giving you now is just that conscious awareness of what you do subconsciously. So you see how I completely changed the tone there, with the pace, and with the pace, the tone changed. So if you're worried about being monotone, actually, I invite you to be more conscious of the pace. Would you like a little exercise to play with vocal variety though on tone? Yeah? Yes, nodding, thumbs up. Yay. American jazz hand? No? Okay. Fabulous. Thank you for going with it. We've done this before. We use this for so many different elements, and we come back. I always come back to the hum. Right? The hum, it's simple. It doesn't put any pressure on your vocal cords. So I invite you to place a hand on your chest and breathe. And just hum any tone, any note. You're doing it in the privacy of your own home. I haven't made you turn on your mics, so it's all good. Beautiful. And you'll find the space that's comfortable for you. Now, I want you just to play with that tone by doing a little siren. So we hum all the way up. And then we drop down. Beautiful. Now, this is a really simple exercise, and I know it makes some people really self-conscious, but this is the first step in vocal confidence. It's why in May I am offering, and John, if you haven't read it already, you'll be delighted to, oh, you did read it earlier because you responded to me. You'll be delighted to know I am opening up the Global Sound Circle Heart Set membership, which is my middle level membership. It's normally £88 a month. I'm opening it up to everyone for free to come and play and see how actually by working with sonic meditation and sounding, because you're doing the sounding like we just did there with the humming, you're becoming more comfortable hearing your own voice. You're judging yourself less. The more you do it, the less you judge yourself, because the more you just go, actually, this is quite nice. I feel really good after doing it. Also, that hum siren, it's the gentlest way to open and stretch your vocal cords. The best way to do it is actually in the shower, where there's nice, warm, moist air. So you've got absolutely no potential of drying out your throat or creating throat tension. So that exercise is the simplest way to start expanding your natural range of tone. The higher we go, the easier it is to drop lower. And the lower we go, the easier it is to open up higher. Opera singers, actors, before a show, they'll get us backstage going, Singers will always sing 2 or 3 notes above their highest note in their warm-up and 2 or 3 notes below their lowest note in their warm-up, so that they know the range they want. So if you're wanting, again, we come to, this is another way of creating more of that open chest, those lower tones. So this is another technical way to do that, just by becoming more comfortable hearing your voice, playing with your voice. And literally 30 seconds a day will make a difference. I'm not giving you that. Now, you have to do these exercises for an hour a day. Who has time to do that? You're in the shower. And then play. Like if you find a place is a bit stuck, just go a little bit higher or a little bit lower. Or if you find a place that's like, oh, and you can play there and go, or, and then gradually, as we go deeper into it, we open the mouth, but that can put in more self-consciousness. So we start with the hum. Just one other really fabulous way to create vocal variety, because I like to give lots of value here, as you all know, is, especially if you have children in your life. I don't have children, but I have 2 nieces. And even if you don't have children in your life, you can just get yourself a children's book. Because children's books, this is a, it's not actually A.A. Milne, but it's inspired by, so it's a return to the 100-Acre Wood. Children's books always have lots of different characters in them. So what you do is you get yourself a children's book, and because you're turning 50 soon, you put your glasses on so you can read it. And then when you have a different character, you give it a really big different voice. So for example, Winnie the Pooh gave Christopher Robin a bear hug and said, right, so that's my narrator voice. Welcome home, Christopher Robin. Okay, so you give them whatever voice you want, but Winnie the Pooh has a big, round voice. Kanga said, you must cut the cake, Christopher Robin. Because obviously she's Australian. And make a wish, added Tigger, because he's got a more growly, tiggery voice. So Christopher Robin made a wish and everyone cheered and clapped and said, welcome home, welcome home, welcome home. Except Eeyore, who said, many happy returns of the day. And Christopher Robin felt glad to be back. So, give the characters like big changes in voice. Get a kid's, it's a really great way of expanding your vocal variety. Get a kid's book, find voices for the characters and make those voices kind of like, imagine that you are doing a voiceover for a cartoon. So there we go. That is the tips for today. Gravitas, do not be questioning yourself. Allow yourself to take time and find that richer, deeper, your whole voice. Start finding that connection. Now, obviously, a lot of the work I do is helping change those subconscious thoughts, which is what makes the voice get trapped in the throat and in the head. But we don't have time for all of those exercises on these sessions. Number 2, if you want to create more impact and interaction, if you want to create more impact, then work on your gravitas and have a real clarity around what the impact is that you are looking to make. What is your intention? Again, there's an acting exercise. This it? Yes, it is this. Where you go through, it's called actions. And this book is full of verbs. This is what you do to people. Right? So you think, what do I want to do to this audience? Do I want to honor them, hold them, hurry them? Do I want to enliven them, enrage them? Do I want to deceive them? Right? So if you have a clarity on what you want to do, it will shift and change and you will have that impact, the thing you want to do to them. And of course, ask questions if you want interaction. Ask questions, give exercises. Finally, vocal variety. Hum, 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 hum. Play with your hum. Play with pace. And get a kid's book and play with characters' voices. So, we are here at 15:15. We have 15 minutes for Q&A. Does anyone have any Qs? I will give the best As that I can. Give me a wave if you've got any specific question. Or just unmute yourself. John, you look like you're gearing up. Yes, go for it, John. I remember these Q&As can be about any part of the work that I do. Oh, John, no, you're not. You need to change your mic.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. I was thinking earlier when you were talking about how the different parts of the body get into the voice and that. What I've had some feedback in the past I'm not aware if it's a constant thing, but my jaw, especially as an actor, I've had feedback about it being very tight and very kind of locked up. I wasn't even thinking about asking this until that discussion earlier, but I'm just wondering, is there a way of getting that more free, or
Yep. So there's a couple of ways to loosen up your jaw. One is get your fingers right in this joint here and give it a rub. It's like, and you can feel, if you open your jaw, you can feel where that joint is, and you can get right deep in there. There are some deep facial muscles. So that's one way, just really in there. The other space as well for this is behind your ears. Because you'll see where, if you do, you'll feel where the jaw connects there. So getting right in behind the ears, that helps loosen up the jaw. Doing the exercise, it's a classic drama school exercise. Oh, it's lovely. Imagine that you've got a massive, great big wad of chewing gum. You're trying to chew around. So you just literally do that. And the other thing, because the other thing that can help the jaw is, do you remember the exercise we did with the tongue around the teeth in the 2-day workshop? That helps unlock the tension that's at the back of the tongue, which also locks into the jaw. So that will free that up. And my personal feedback for you with tone would be, for you, I would work on those higher tones. So the because you have quite a naturally lovely, open, deep tone anyway. So I would play with getting more into your higher tones for that vocal variety.
The thing I've noticed is, I haven't done it for a while, but there have been times in the past where I did singing in a local like operatic groups, and when I was doing that, it opened my voice out a lot more. But obviously when you stop and you step away from that, you're not practicing that muscle. So
get practicing.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have some magic wand bits, but that one, your vocal folds are muscles. They need exercising. Any other cues that I can give aids to about any element of the work I do?
Oh, I know.
Isabel, yes.
Sometimes, and this might be just practicing like you just said, but if you've got several gigs on the trot and it's different size halls, you're projecting more, even if you're mic'd up and all those sort of things. Sometimes on a third or fourth gig, you can definitely notice a tired voice or a strain. So what would you recommend with that? I usually sing on the way to gigs to warm my vocals up, as well as rehearsing my poems.
To warm your vocal cords up probably isn't great.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good to know.
Humming to warm your vocal cords up, because if you're singing, you're already, so if you're singing for an hour in the car on your way there, you're already putting them under quite a lot of tension and pressure.
Right.
So I would do a gentle 5-minute hum warm up. So and then if you want to go into a bit of ha 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 ha, hey, just nonsense vocalizing. It's difficult to know without having you physically here, but yeah, I would say avoid the singing before. How long normally are your gigs?
It depends, because usually it's about half an hour set, but I've got a new book coming out, and so it's my full one-woman show is 2 half-an-hour sets.
Yeah. So you see, when I do my 2-day workshop, for example, and those who've been can verify this, I'm talking all day for 2 days, and my voice does not get tired. So what I would say is that you've probably got some subconscious stuff going on in there, which is creating tension here in your throat.
Ah, right. Or just too much singing.
Or maybe too much singing. Yeah, too much singing will do it. Too much stretching. This is why we gently stretch the vocal cords. So I definitely, that will probably make the biggest difference for you. And also just bringing it, again, it's technical stuff about bringing your breath into and speaking much more from your belly. and allowing the voice again to come from this open, gorgeous chest space, rather than speaking from your throat and mouth. So it's allowing, and yes, some of it, you know, we all have to remember here, I had professional singing lessons from the age of 14. I was going to drama classes and stuff. So I, you know, learning how to breathe, learning how to control my voice from the age of 14. So
yeah, actually, I used to sing in a choir, and that has definitely helped with breath and longer sentences or longer lines, and using your stomach to
so I do more of
get the breath
those, kind of warm-up exercises, but I'd ditch the singing, unless you know, like do a song or two if it, you know, if it gets you in the right energy. But you know, don't be singing for the whole hour in the car on the way there.
No.
Cool, thank you. Great question. Any other questions for this evening? Okay, well, if that's that, I shall let you go with love. Just to make sure that you are aware that I am running a half-day intro to me workshop in Waterloo on the 3rd of June. So it's 10 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. It's just a 7-minute walk from Waterloo Station. It's only £44 for the early bird tickets, which are going up. They were going to go up on the 22nd, but I think I might extend and give people a breather, because most people don't get paid until the end of the month. So I won't put them up until the 30th. So if you are just going like, oh, I do want to know a little bit more, then that is on my events website. I'm running the 2-day vocal confidence workshop again at the end of June, so 30th of June and 1st of July. And that's where you get 2 days of glorious goodness, as I'm sure Alan, John and Joy will testify. And we will be back on the 3rd of May. We'll be back on the first Monday. It is a bank holiday, but I will be doing it. And thank you for being here this evening. So be fabulous, enjoy, and also don't forget to look out for the free opening up of the heart set of the Global Sound Circle. I'm going to be opening up for a month for free for everyone, so that you can, I realize that a lot of people don't understand how the sounding works in combination with also feeling more vocally confident. So I thought the easiest way to do that is just to open it up to everyone. And then you also get an amazing meditation tool and stress reduction tool. And then if you choose to stay in the membership afterwards, it starts from as little as £5 and 7p a week, or £22 a month. And there will be a special offer so that you don't have to pay the full price for the heart set. I'll be doing that. It's normally 88, but I'll be offering it at 66. So, but again, you can just come for the month and then not do it. That's okay too. It's not come on the obligation of buying. It's come to suss it out and see whether you like it. So
when's that, Judith?
That will be for the month of May.
All right.
So if you've signed up to my newsletter, you should have received a newsletter today with a link in there with a form to say that yes, you'd like to sign up for it. If you don't sign up to my newsletter, then please go to my website, yourwholevoice.com, and sign up to my newsletter, because it'll all then be there, and I'll be sending it out again soon. So have a lovely evening all, or wherever you are in the world. Take care and see you in the not too distant future.
Thank you.
Adios.
Au revoir.